Here we go. Before jumping into this, I was like, what am I going to talk about today? But what I like about this is that it's more of kind of like an improv session. But at the same time, as I was getting ready for sleep last night, my sweetheart and I were having a great conversation regarding trauma, pain. And there's something that I've realized. When it comes to trauma, here's what happens. Parents traumatize their children. That's just the way that it is, whether it's big or small. However, here's an example. Say, for instance, a parent left their child, right? Physically, just left, right? Whether or not they came back is not the matter here. I mean, that can really shape. I guess that's partially the matter here. Basically, here's what I'm trying to focus on. When you don't know your parents' background, when you don't know what it was that they grew up with, what it was that they experienced, there's a good chance that you'll have a very hard time differentiating between their trauma and your trauma. So here's the thing. When you don't heal your trauma, you are likely to project that onto other people. You're likely to project that. If you're a parent, you are likely to project that onto your children. And so here's what I want to explore. I feel like exploring this because I think that it's important to understand this, because I think that a lot of people are actually carrying around misplaced and confused pain that is not necessary for them to carry around. And from what I'm looking at it, from what I'm observing now, I think I'm getting a good understanding that, okay, this heavy, deeply rooted pain that you're carrying around actually is not yours to carry. And now, the way that I want to explore this is this, right? Say, for instance, I learned a belief growing up that I was inherently defective. And this is why I don't know. Actually, I'll make it another way. This person right here. This person grew up learning a belief that they were inherently defective, right? But the reason that they grew up with that belief was because this person left them. Well, there's got to be something wrong with this person if this person left them, right? No. The very reason that this person left this person could very much have to do with the fact that this person was also left. This person was traumatized. And so then they're taking their trauma and they're projecting it onto this person right here. There's a lot of pain that comes with abandonment. There's a lot of pain that comes with that kind of shit. And not just pain, but also confusion. Thoughts and feelings of lack, of there's something wrong with me, of defectiveness. And the issue with this is that when you're not seeing the picture clearly, you will confuse someone else's pain for yours. And when I say this, I mean this person has beliefs that they're inherently defective because this person fucking left them, right? Well, here's the issue. The fact that this person has these beliefs that they're inherently defective because this person left them could actually be very inaccurate, right? And I would argue that it is almost always inaccurate, because whatever's going on with this person, the reason that this person left is not because of this person. It's just because of this person. This person has their own trauma, their own shit, and maybe they just have an inability to deal with this person's, however this person is presenting themselves, this person has an inability to deal with it. This person has an inability to, and it doesn't matter, the relationship. Usually, a parent and a child is probably the strongest, that it kind of works out that way, that it's like the strongest kind of dynamic. But this can happen in like regular friendships, relationships, whatever it is. What I want to explore here most is that when you look at it clearly, you might actually realize that you are holding on to, pain that is not yours to carry, because it actually has nothing to do with you. For instance, my belief, or no, this person's belief that they were inherently defective and continue to be inherently defective is based on this person's abandoning them, right? Now here's the issue. If this person doesn't see this person's trauma, shit, and life clearly, this person's just going to continue mistaking what this person did for their shit. That's a fucking problem, because when you own pain that is not yours to carry, for instance, this person carrying around the pain of feeling defective because this person fucking left, you do yourself a disservice, because it's not your pain to carry. Just because this person traumatized you and led you to beliefs that you are inherently defective does not mean that the pain that you carry around has anything to do with you. You're just confused and mistaking this person's shit for your shit, which it's not that way at all. And this is something that I have realized on my journey of healing, because, I grew up with shit. I grew up with trauma. I was traumatized, and that's just the way that it is. But looking at it clearly, okay, I actually never was inherently defective. I actually never had, shit that, professionals said I did. Shit was just not seen clearly, and that's the issue. But what I'm trying to get at here is seeing somebody else's shit and then seeing your shit. It is very likely that you are carrying around pain that somebody else gave to you that has nothing to do with you. We need to understand that our parents fucked us up. We also need to understand that their parents fucked them up far worse than they fucked us up. That doesn't mean that they didn't fuck us up, though. But that also means that what they fucked us up with likely came from their parents. That's just the way that it works. And so they projected, their parents projected their trauma onto them, and they were just fucking clueless. They weren't in a time era where they were like, okay, that's clearly projections, this, that, and the other, we're seeing things clear. No, none of that stuff. So they're just like, okay, whatever, I'm a piece of shit, I get it, whatever. Like, no, you're not a piece of shit. Your father is just carrying around shit from his father, which came from his father, which came from, all that kind of stuff. And it's really interesting to be able to see things that clearly, because when you can, it changes the dynamics of how you approach everything. It changes the dynamics of your healing. Imagine, you've been carrying around pain that never had anything to do with you. That's wow, right? And some pain is fucking severe, right? Some pain takes people deep into fucking dark places, right? So being able to see clearly everything, differentiating between their pain that they tried to give you and then your pain. Your pain is based in the experience. Your pain, depending on the trauma, right? Your pain is the feeling or the mistaken feeling of defectiveness. Your pain is the helplessness. If you're someone who was abandoned, somebody who just left you, and you're just like a fucking child, like what the fuck's going on, right? There's a good chance that you're just gonna feel helpless, right? It's like, oh, I can't do anything about this. This is fucking terrifying, but I can't do. Imagine just sitting in sheer fucking terror, knowing that you cannot do shit about what's going on. That's helplessness. That's your pain. What's not your pain is what the fuck the person is doing to you. Because, by the way, that might very well not even be their pain either, because that could be what's been given to them trauma-wise by their fucking, by their parents or, whatever. But that's also not your problem or anybody else's problem. Seeing things clearly, all of this stuff goes into seeing things clearly. If you can't differentiate and separate that person's pain from your pain and recognize that, oh, okay, that's not my pain, but they're trying to give it to me, or they did give it to me, but now I'm seeing it clearly and I'm recognizing, okay, cool. So connecting the dots here, there, and this, that, and the other, and it all comes together. Yeah, I was up real late with my my sweetheart, talking about this, and it's kind of trauma. This is literally how trauma works. I mean, I'm not going to say that this is how trauma works, but in terms of passing it on, and I made this analogy or this metaphor with my sweetheart last night, and it was really cool because like there's the game Hot Potato, right? You know, you open the oven, there's a fucking hot potato in there, you pull it out, it's like, oh, fuck, it's hot, what do I do with it, and it's like, here, I don't know what to do with it, just take it, and then someone else takes it, and they're like, oh, fuck, you know, so it's like, the projecting of trauma, the passing down of trauma is like a game of hot potato. Something happened at some point in your life that really fucked you up, and you don't know what to do with that pain, you don't know what to do with that trauma. So then you're just passing it on to the next person. And the next person is likely your children. It's likely your friends. These are the projections of insecurity that happen. And it's just really interesting to see it all clearly. So when you can see it all clearly, then you can recognize, oh, okay, so I have very well been carrying pain that was never mine. Here's my pain, this other pain is that person's. Okay, so I'm going to differentiate between that person's pain and my pain. I'm going to give that person's pain back to them because it's not my job to own that pain because that was never mine to carry. But this pain over here, these thoughts of, you know, these thoughts and feelings of helplessness, of despair, of defectiveness, of, you know, lack of worth and everything, that shit's mine and I'm going to own that. There's serious fucking power in and having the capacity to differentiate between someone else's pain and your pain, giving that pain back to them, owning your shit, you know, that separation, and then moving forward. That's just the way that it works.